Hello, welcome back to my Stardew Valley challenge run where I try to reach perfection as soon as the game lets me. Last week, we compared different money-making strategies, started the Key Bean quest, and got married, as evidenced by the man living in our home now. This week is the last week of fall, so as we do our morning chores and get prepared for the week, we should keep in mind that we are trying to achieve perfection, and we should keep in mind that winter is right around the corner. Some of our morning chores today included harvesting fall crops and interacting with our machines like the furnaces and the dehydrators. In the greenhouse, we harvest some non-fall crops that we're a little bit low on and replace it with garlic, another crop that we need more of. Now that you're outside, you can see I made a bunch more seed makers this morning so that I can more efficiently propagate these key beans. Additionally, we have deluxe speed grow in the ground and the agriculturalist profession, which makes the turnover 2 days instead of the usual 4. So we're gonna get those 500 beans one way or another. Alright, down south in the forest, we have our raccoon friends, and I already pre-prepared these two artisan goods. I'm using a Stardew Predictor to figure out what items they want before they even ask for them, so that I'm ready on the day that they ask. Alright, back on the farm, we get some of our animal goods, and I'm going to give a golden animal cracker to Anoki, which is one of our bunnies, so that we get more rabbit's feet, which are loved gifts for most villagers. We can take some of our goat cheese and age it alongside our wine, just to increase that sell price a little bit. And I do want to highlight that I'm making a treasure totem right here. This is a somewhat new, patch 1.6 addition into the game, and this is going to help us get some more bone items that we need on Ginger Island. First, though, I want to make it up to the forge and put an enchantment on our new upgraded Dragon Tooth Club, and let's make it over to Key's Walnut Room. We could accept the extended family quest, just like we did last week. This is a good money-making opportunity. But I think I'm going to go with Key's Kindness, because working on relationships with villagers is another goal for perfection. Okie dokie, time to use that treasure totem. I'm going to use it on the beach just below our farm, and this way, when we get those little wormies out of the ground, we're going to get some of the bones for our snake creature. We need at least 2 snake vertebrae, we already have 1, and a snake skull to complete this animal. Way back in episode 0, I talk a bit more about how clutch this treasure totem is in patch 1.6 compared to not having it in patch 1.5. Okay, back to gifting. We can go over to Leo's hut and give him a duck feather, a loved gift, and this counts as the first of 50 loved gifts we need to hand out this week to complete Key's Kindness. Now that we gave Leo a gift, let's deliver those bones to Professor Snail. And I'm just clearing out a few more diggy spots just for fun, and we happen to get another snake skull. We don't need the second one. Okay, and now we need to fish for, I think it's a 10% chance to get the Alright, we get on the first try, the fossilized spine. We can take all of these bone items to his hut. And there we go, that's a full island field office. This helps us with perfection for a few reasons. First, we get the ostrich incubator crafting recipe, and we'll eventually need to craft everything for perfection. And we also get 9 golden walnuts, 3 for the snake and 6 for the large animal. The fruit tree saplings are kinda useful, but we already do have a mango tree and a banana tree growing, so those weren't necessarily necessary for perfection. Back in town, we can accept a quest. The wizard wants us to slay a few ghosts in the mines, and wow! The garbage hat. This is a very low chance, about 0.2%. And sure, you could use the predictor to predict it, but I didn't. This is just happenstance. So let's wear it for a while. After chatting up some villagers, we can make it down to the special orders board, and we could actually accept either of these quests. We could do a curious substance because we already have a quest to slay ghosts, but I do want to choose community cleanup because of the quest reward. We're going to be able to learn how to make fiber seeds, and I want a lot of fiber for a future crafting recipe. So we'll slay the third and final ghost and not worry about getting that ectoplasm, I think was the item, and instead we'll focus our efforts on using crab pots and other means to get some trash from the valley. Okay, it's almost time for bed. I think the true home of the garbage hat is atop the head of our horse Peanut, so we'll give it to him instead. And let's stock the fridge with some pizzas that we bought from Gus, so we can give them to our husband to raise our hearts. In addition to just being morally good, raising our hearts with our husband also helps with perfection. We eventually need to get a star drop from Shane, which we haven't gotten yet, And giving this loved gift does further our Key's Kindness quest. Those key gems that we'll get as a reward are important, and it will get us some crafting recipes. Today was kind of an open day, we didn't have anything we needed to do, and we got a +1 ore buff from the dwarf statue, so it's a great day to spend it in the Skull Cavern. Our first treasure floor grants us some cactus seeds, which we don't really need, and interestingly, they aren't worth anything in our iridium trash can, so kind of a useless floor. And talk about useless, we got a white turban. Don't need that either. We are getting more treasure floors though because I ate a lucky lunch at the beginning of this run. Your luck value, including luck buffs, do impact how many treasure floors you see during your descent. I do think the treasure floors are mocking me ever so slightly because this cherry sapling isn't useful either. We already have a fully grown cherry tree, and it's not really worth too much. So I'm hoping for different things, like please no more fruit saplings. One thing I kind of just like to do in the Skull Cavern is on those prehistoric floors, slay all the dinosaurs and throw away their bones, because it's actually kind of valuable. We get a bit more value after slaying this serpent. Our napalm ring explodes the nearby iridium rock, and that drops a prismatic shard. Forgetting about treasure for just a little bit, the Skull Cavern also offers a lot of other resources. For example, we're in here for copper ore and iron ore. Those can help us make kegs, and of course iridium ore, which we can sell once we smelt them into bars. Back to treasure, we get some pumpkin seeds, which we can't plant anymore because it's too late, but we get some cinder shards here. These will actually prove very useful in a day or two. At my current stage in progression and skill, my general goal is to hit floor 200 on these dives. I will take a little bit of time and walk around those prehistoric floors, trying to collect those bones to put in our trash can. And along the way, we get more treasure, and it's an orange tree sapling. I said no more fruit saplings, please. They aren't useful anymore. But here we are on floor 134, getting yet another orange sapling. There's something silly going on. Sometimes I feel like the RNG of Stardew likes playing tricks on ya. A few more floors down, we find more treasure. This time we get some mega bombs, which we can use in our current descent. And we get another treasure floor, a few more floors later, and it's another white turban. Like, come on, give me something better. I would rather get something I can use instead of something I'm just gonna trash. We continue to make fairly good progress down through the Skull Cavern, again trying to reach floor 200 before it hits 2 AM, and along the way we're just getting more and more ore. Here I wanted to highlight how much gold we got from our parrot egg from just one enemy. This is 1250 gold. To get this much gold or more from one enemy is a 1.7% chance, so kinda neat. Floor 194, more treasure, life elixirs, something we can use, and when you get roughly around floor 200, you have to be a little bit careful not to take shafts, because those might shoot you right past floor 200. Here we get a golden spur, which will just sell for 1,000 gold, and 5 golden mystery boxes. Now let's warp on home, sneak some iridium ore in those furnaces, and head off to bed. Another day, another love gift for the husband. This time the peppers poppers came from Shane yesterday. More ore in those furnaces, and we can make use of those cinder shards from yesterday by crafting an ostrich incubator today. In addition to being a crafting recipe, which we'll eventually need to craft for perfection, the ostrich incubator is great because it, well, helps us incubate an ostrich. We don't actually need to do that for perfection, but it's kind of nice to have one. Eventually we'll need to sell off an ostrich egg, and we have enough time to incubate the one we have, and hatch it and grow it to a full ostrich that will then give us another ostrich egg. In the background you can see Hanj doing a bunch of farm chores, the ones that we neglected yesterday. Right now she's making more kegs using the oak resin from the farm, and the copper and iron that we got from the Skull Cavern yesterday. Other farm chores today included harvesting some fall crops, like pumpkins and cranberries, prettying up the area around our oak tree farm, so placing down floor tiling so that the acorns that spawn in the ground don't spawn in weird spots. And as you can see right now, doing a huge key bean swap. It's going to take several hours to get these key beans out of the ground, into the seed makers, and back into the ground as we propagate up to roughly 500. Partway through key beaning, I actually wanted to go out to the town and give some gifts to people, but were interrupted by our own husband taking us on a date to a tunnelers game. I think it's Gridball. What's kind of funny is that this is Shane's 10 heart event, and the idea is that you aren't married to him yet. So when he celebrates and kisses Han, she gets a little bit embarrassed, as if this isn't completely normal now that they're married, but hey, it's kind of cute and just a little out of order. As we enter the Molnar's residence, we're greeted by 3 different cutscenes. This one in particular is important because here we get the cooking recipe for cookies. And the reason why we're here is to give Mr. Molnar, George, his birthday gift. He gets an iridium rabbit's foot, which brings him up to 10 hearts. Outside, we get another help wanted quest for slaying ghosts, just like we did earlier in the week. But instead of doing that immediately, I want to get home just to make sure I'm done key beaning for the day. I didn't count it out super specifically, but I'm going to end up selling 179 today, and I planted more than 400 in the ground, so we should be all set by fall 26. And here I'm actually finally putting that ostrich incubator in the barn and popping the egg in there. Now we'll just do a little bit of tidying up on the farm. It took a little bit to smelt all of that copper and iron into bars, but now we can use that with the leftover oak resin and make 67 kegs total. A fair amount of people are collected up in the Star Drop Saloon in the center of town, so we'll head over there with a few loved gifts and make a bit more progress with Key's kindness. We'll also bring a pumpkin down to our favorite shadow person, Krobus, and head on over to the bus stop to plant down a whole bunch of kegs. Although they don't all fit, and I think I'm going to overflow them into the quarry. I actually haven't ever put them down here before in any of my other runs. It's a little bit weird with the stones that just spawn, but I think if I put flooring down, I'll be able to stop that, and it's conveniently close to the bus stop kegs by use of those minecarts. Thursday, fall 25 starts with another loved gift for our husband, getting more of those flooring tiles down near our trees, and getting more fall crops. This time we get sweet gemberries. These are a very unique fall crop here. They take almost the whole season to grow. They sell for a whole bunch. You can't put them in artisan good machines, and you do need one for a star drop later on, which is a perfection requirement. Before we head out today with our collection of loved gifts, I just want to mention that I put some wheat in the kegs, and I'm putting some ancient fruit in these preserves jars. We're about to get a huge star fruit harvest, and I'd like the kegs for the star fruit instead of the ancient fruit. Off the farm, Pam gets a parsnip, and we take the bus with her to the desert so that we can give Sandy a sweet pea and buy some star fruit seeds from her. As it's Thursday, we could also buy some deluxe speed grow in bulk, but we don't need it anymore, interestingly, and instead we'll make it over to the trader and buy our 1 magic rock candy, or rather trade for it, by giving the trader 3 prismatic shards. Our kegs in the bus stop also get a round of wheat. Again, they should be done by the time we get our starfruit harvest tomorrow, and once we make it into town, we can head into the clinic and give out some more loved gifts. Maru gets a gold bar, and we can interrupt Caroline's checkup to give them both a little drink. It's a little bit strange to give Caroline green tea and Harvey coffee here, but I don't know, maybe they can cheers and take a sip and get on with their appointment or something. Back outside, we get a help wanted quest that we can finish very quickly, as Elliot is already here in Pierre's general store. He gets that emerald that he asked for, and a pomegranate, which he loves. We'll give Pierre some fried calamari, which we bought from Gus when it was the dish of the day, and we'll make it over to George and give him a prismatic shard. We don't need to give it to him for friendship, this is purely to progress Key's kindness. Over in Pam and Penny's home, we'll lie and say that Penny made something delicious and give her an emerald. Gus gets a rabbit's foot because I whoopsied and traded away all of our diamonds at the desert trader. And as we're heading down to the beach, we can do a little swap with these crab pots and collect some trash and make a little bit of progress with community cleanup. Willie gets a gold bar, which he loves. And Clint, hi Clint. I'm kidding. I just forgot that I could give him an Omni Geode as a loved gift, and I didn't want to give him the amethyst. Anyways, Krobus gets a pumpkin, and I look for more people to give gifts to. But all we find is Jody. We do get 10 hearts with her, and at this point, let's go back home, drop some stuff off, get some more loved gifts, and move on up to the mountain. Here we can get more trash from our crab pots and hand out more gifts. Demetrius gets a strawberry, Linus gets a coconut, and Robin gets a peach. All fruits, interestingly. Is coconut a fruit? Anyways, since we're nearby, we can go into the mines and start working on the second round of slaying those ghosts. We only need 3, and it doesn't take us too long, but I think while we're in here, I want to update you on the parrot egg in the trash can, because I haven't yet. So far with the parrot egg, we've now hit 6 digits. We're at 105,750. And with the iridium trash can, we have finally broken even with our skull cavern run earlier in the week. We are now at 45,441 gold. Now that we got all 3 of our ghosts, we can head on out, and the quest is going to expire tonight, so we have to go to the wizard tonight and say that we got the ghosts, and while we're here, we can give another loved gift before making it into town and actually giving Clint a gift as well. He gets an aquamarine. And now we make it over to Marcelo, the bookseller, and he has a very important book for us, the Queen of Sauce cookbook. This is unlocked once you have gotten at least 100 golden walnuts on Ginger Island, and this lets us learn all the other Queen of Sauce recipes that we would normally have to wait to watch on the TV. We also trade in a few of our other books, getting resources like wood and bait, some peppers poppers for Shane, and I decided to get a slime incubator at the end, even though I'm eventually going to have to craft one anyways for perfection. Now that it's evening time, we don't have that many more things we could do, but we could stop in the mines and give the dwarf an aquamarine as well, and move on over to the farm, do a little animal goods, artisan goods swap, and tidy up the pathing around our trees. And doing the pathing reminded me, I should probably put some down near those kegs in the quarry, but I'd rather not risk passing out over there, and instead we can just go home and go to bed. Friday morning is pretty standard for about 1 hour until we start fishing in our nearby river on our farm for trash. This is again for that community cleanup quest, and once we get roughly 13, maybe 14 pieces of trash, I think that's enough because we do have some trash lingering in crab pots, both in the ocean and up at the mountain. And I'm so excited that we finally got to this day because today is the day we get to stop looking at these stupid little key fruits and the stupid little beans and their stupid little smug smirks, and we finally get to ship them all and forget that they were ever on our farm. We totally overshot the goal. In the end, we end up shipping 615 of these beans, which is way more than the 500 that we needed. In our greenhouse, we can find some normal looking crops like garlic, melons, strawberries, and cauliflower, and I'm replacing them with garlic because we still don't have enough, and some pumpkins because those are the seeds that I have. Today I want to work a little bit more on Key's kindness, and as I'm heading out into town, I forget, I didn't actually cook the things I wanted to give people. We're going to make this tortilla so we can make a fish taco, and we'll make a salmon dinner to give to Alex. Okay, now that I'm ready to go into town, I'm going to head over to the museum first to drop off those bone items that we got a little bit ago. And this means that we're down to just one artifact left, one of the strange dolls, which will eventually get guaranteed from a secret note. 1 grape, 1 emerald, and 1 pink cake later, we're 3 love gifts closer to completing Key's kindness. And on this side of town, we can see the newly constructed movie theater. Let's buy 2 tickets, 1 for ourselves and 1 for a lucky villager that we're going to gift it to. This invites them to watch a movie with us and has a chance of increasing friendship with them as well. As we mosey around town, we can hand out love gifts to the villagers we see. Lewis gets a rabbit's foot, Evelyn gets a beet, and after a cutscene or 2, Alex gets that salmon dinner that we cooked earlier today. Pierre gets yet another fried calamari that we bought from Gus, and Haley gets her favorite, an iridium star coconut. And the gifts don't end there. We give yet another gold bar to Mario. And while we're here, let's buy another stack, or 2, I think, of wood, just, for kegs or preserves jars. And after telling Linus that we think his lifestyle is quite alright, and finding Haley's grandma's bracelet, we can get a few more pieces of trash from our crab pots and head on over to Ginger Island. We give Sebastian a frozen tear, and Emily an aquamarine. I tried giving another gift to Clint and Leo, but they're already maxed out. We can only give up to 2 gifts per villager per week. Here's that big starfruit harvest that I was talking about yesterday. We have 691 starfruit in the soil right here, and I'm planting and reseeding the soil by hand. Yes, I do have the iridium scythe. Yes, it is faster when you consider real life time, but I'm trying to maximize my in-game time here. As you harvest things by hand, the in-game timer stops, and this is more efficient. Now that we're back in Pelican Town, we can hand out even more gifts. Caroline gets that fish taco that we made earlier in the day, and since it's Friday night, there are a lot of villagers in the Stardrop Saloon. Marnie gets a diamond, Leah gets a truffle, Elliot gets a pomegranate, and here, when we hand Demetrius a strawberry, this completes the quest. You can see the key gems in the upper left corner. I overshot it a bit, so I still have some gifts to give out. Sam gets a cactus fruit, and Abigail gets an amethyst. Now let's warp up to the mountain and get some more trash from our crab pots. You can hear the little ding here, which means that we collected all the trash we need. And now let's head on into the mines and give the dwarf that movie ticket. What? A movie! We're gonna see a movie with the dwarf tonight. The theater closes at 9 p.m., so we should head right there in the mine carts. And here we are, the movie theater. Fortunately, the dwarf loves every single movie, and we have one of the dwarf's loved concession snacks, the rock candy. Interestingly, Abigail also loves this one, and I think this is like a self-reference to her loving amethyst and the jokes about her eating them. In the end, the movie and the loved snack combined to get 1 heart with the dwarf, so now we're 3 away from the maximum of 10. After the movie, we still have a few more things to do before we head off to bed. First off, we have some trash to put in the dumpster up north, and fortunately we have just exactly 20 pieces of trash. Those Joja colas don't count. And now we should spend the rest of our evening, or I guess basically night, filling the kegs with some starfruit so we can take the beer out, put the starfruit in, and start making more wine. The kegs in the barn strategy is a little bit cumbersome, especially when the animals are in here at night, because I can't just hold down right click, or else I get interrupted by messages like, Calypso is trying to sleep. Anyways, we get the starfruit in the kegs, our wine is fermenting, and now is a good time to head off to bed. Because we shipped off over 500 key fruit, you can see the reward of 100 key gems in the top left corner. Fall 27 happens to be a very bad luck day, and here's a little bit of trivia. Shane's chicken is named Charlie. I didn't know that until talking to him. Let's give him a pizza, Shane, not Charlie, and move on. This morning I'm deciding to craft more mystic seeds, and of course getting some tree fertilizer to accompany them. I think I just want more mystic syrup, and I'm also crafting a whole bunch of those fiber seeds. Like I think I mentioned before, this is the crafting recipe reward for the community cleanup quest. Now let's get those mystic seeds in the ground and place some tiling around them. We're going to put some starfruit in preserves jars, and of course cranberries in those dehydrators. Once we finish our morning chores, I figured, well, more preserves jars shouldn't hurt, so let's make a few more. I think we'll toss some pumpkins in there so that we can save some of our starfruit for wine in the future. And I prepared my inventory for a journey to Ginger Island, specifically the Volcano Dungeon. Today's the Spirits Eve festival, so we can't really do anything around Pelican Town, so we might as well spend the day on an island. Heading on in, I instinctively pull out the watering can, and then I realize, wait a sec, we could spend some of our walnuts and just build a bridge. So now we don't have to worry about watering at least the entrance to the volcano. Once we're in on floor 1, there are actually 2 treasure chests for us. The first one drops a dwarf sword, and the second chest drops a ring. Unfortunately, neither item is really too useful to us. The sword isn't an upgrade to our hammer, and the protection ring only gives us more immunity frames. If we get hurt, we could just eat food. Instead, I'm pleased that we've gotten 3 dragon teeth so far and almost 30 cinder shards. On floor 5, a similar story to floor 0, we're spending some golden walnuts for a little bit of utility. We could take a shortcut out here if we wanted, but we have the time and should continue through the dungeon. Floor 6 and floor 7 don't really give us much of anything of note, but floor 8 has something fun in store. After slaying a flame sprite, it drops a parrot egg, and it's level 4. This is the highest level a parrot egg could be, and it does beat out our current level 3 parrot egg. This just means we're going to get more gold for every monster we slay. Usually floor 9 has you backtrack in some way to be able to get the treasure chest on the floor. Sometimes I opt not going for it just to save time, but today, again, festival later on, I want to get this treasure chest and we get a golden coconut out of it. So now that we're done in the volcano, we can stop by at our Ginger Island farm, pick up some more things, and warp on home. And it's at this point I realize, wait, I actually wasn't done on Ginger Island. Maybe it was worth it bringing some items home, but I'm going to warp right back to the island because I want to do one more thing there. And sure, I'll get some muscle nodes and chop down some trees just because I'm here, but the whole point was to go back and get into Key's Walnut Room. We have 170 key gems to spend on some late game items. First, I'm going to buy the Heavy Tapper recipe. Eventually, I'm going to put these on our mystic trees for more mystic syrup. I'm buying a deconstructor so I can put those old, almost broken fishing tackles in them. I'm also buying the key to the town so we no longer have to worry about buildings being open or closed. Let's get the magic bait recipe, just in case we need to catch a fish when it's not the right time, season, or weather. And I will buy the horse flute so we can bring our horse Peanut wherever we go. So we brought Peanut to Ginger Island, and we're riding him and chopping trees and going back and forth. Basically, we're just wasting time. We should probably warp back home and ride our horse on into the Spirits Eve festival. It does close before 11:50, so we're kind of cutting it close. This festival is vital to attend from a perfection standpoint. First, we needed to buy that rare crow. I think this is actually our last rare crow, given that I got the winter one from the traveling cart. And we also need to buy the jack-o'-lantern crafting recipe. Oh, and speaking of crafting recipes, the whole reason why the rare crows are important is because we're going to get the deluxe scarecrow crafting recipe in the mail tomorrow. After traversing through the maze, our reward is 1 golden pumpkin. This sells for a few thousand gold, and it's also a universally loved gift. Coming home, we can put that deconstructor down near the chest with all the broken or almost broken tackle. These dressed spinners will give us some cloth, and we can save that to sell it later. We'll partake in a little bit of deforestation, plunk some starfruit in our preserves jars, and head off to bed. Oh, and here's a little Easter egg. If you click on the full moon a whole bunch, you get to see the man on the moon. Fall 28, the last day of the season and the video. We start out our day by getting a pizza from Shane and giving it right back to him. We'll get one more harvest of tea leaves, and when we head outside, we can see that in the mail we do indeed get that deluxe scarecrow recipe. I'm going to start making a habit of using the deconstructor on those dress spinners, and we have a huge harvest of wheat today, so let's scythe it all up and replant it with those fiber seeds we crafted the other day. Fortunately, these can grow in winter. We get our first mystic syrup, which we could eventually use for some late game crafting recipes, and I'll take those bee houses down. They don't produce honey during winter, and we could put them on Ginger Island instead. We'll wrap up our morning chores by putting some animal products in artisan good machines, and just making sure that we've harvested all of the fall crops we can. I accidentally missed time to harvest the beets. I thought they'd be ready by today, but they aren't. We can briefly stop in town to complete a help wanted quest. Alex wants an aquamarine, he gives us a prize ticket for our efforts, and while we're here we can give him a prizzy shard. Next, I'm going to spend a lot of time in the mines. I'm going to do a little bit of geode farming. Each day, it's determined what tiles will drop geodes in the mines. So you can go in and out of floors, and as long as there's a rock on a certain tile, you're going to get a geode from it. I'm getting these in particular because next week, the raccoons in the Cindersap Forest are going to ask for geodes of all things. So I need 8 normal geodes and 3 magma geodes to appease them tomorrow. While we're up here, let's take a stop in the Adventurers Guild just to sell off a few things that we don't need anymore. Next, I'm going to go back home and start preparing my inventory for a day of fishing. I'm bringing some fishing tackle, some machines, and a fish stew that we cooked using some of our freshwater crab pot catch. En route to fishing, we can head to the Mayor's Manor and cash in our prize tickets. It's a little bit exciting that a magic rock candy is on the horizon, but I'm even more excited about that star drop tea. We'll need 10 to befriend Kent really quickly once we meet him. Anyways, on Ginger Island, we get those bee houses there like I mentioned, and now we're heading on up to the volcano so we can start fishing near the forge. The reason why we're here is to fish up a bunch of lava eels and smoke them, and the real reason why is so we can sell them for money. Fishing in the forge also gets us a lot of trash, so that's why I brought the recycling machines too. The bait maker is incredibly useful here too because it increases the bite rate of lava eels versus trash. And I'm using dress spinners and quality bobbers to get quick bites and high quality fish. Unfortunately, this does mean that we can't equip a trap bobber as well, so some of these lava eels are getting away. We're eventually going to need a bunch of gold for perfection. That gold clock is 10 million gold alone. So this is going to be another one of our potential money-making strategies, and I'll compare it with the ones that I looked into last week. One thing to look out for are these golden fishing treasure chests. Each one has a small chance of having a star drop tea, and this one has some geodes, which is really funny thinking back to the geode farming we did earlier today. Now that we'll just be fishing for a little bit here, I want to give you a few updates. First of all, with the iridium trash can, we haven't trashed anything since I said 45,441 gold, so that's still our total. and now that we've broken even, or more than that, I'm not going to keep track of it anymore. I just wanted to know, is it worth it? And the answer is yes. Next, with our parrot egg, our new total is 118,750 gold. This I still will keep a tally on because I'm just so curious how useful this trinket will be by the end of the run. Lastly, since we're really in the end game now, there are going to be a lot of moments like this that are kind of monotonous, so I am going to change my editing style for the future videos. It might take me a little bit longer to edit the next video as I adjust, so I just wanted to let you know. Okay, now that you've been adequately updated, let's check back in and see how it's going with Hanj. It's getting pretty late, so we should probably wrap up soon, but oof, you can't end on a loss. So let's try for one more lava eel, and after a little bit of a hard fight, we do get one more lava eel in the bags. Now that we're all done fishing today, we can do a gold per hour analysis of this task. We fished up 28 lava eels, and we also got 4 lava eel roe. After a lot of calculatoring, I figured out that the gold per hour here is 18,300 gold. This places us well below anything starfruit related, but it is roughly comparable to the Legend 2 fishing that I did in the last episode. And that does it for today, this week, and the whole season. We are all done with fall. Thank you for coming along in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. It might be a little bit, but I can't wait to show you what's in store for winter.